Hi, Nathan here with Western Expanse Chimneys and Vents, and today we're at home here in Moscow, Idaho, and we have an old fireplace here that actually has a chimney that's in really good shape, and we're going to be installing a liner and a wood stove here. Most of the time, somebody would choose to have a fireplace insert installed into this space, but the homeowners here wanted to have a freestanding wood stove in front of the fireplace and still be able to vent it up and out. And so that's what we're going to be doing today. If you want to do a freestanding wood stove in front of a traditional fireplace, most of the time you're going to have to purchase a stove that has the option of a rear outlet. And that's what they did. They purchased a Hearthstone, and most of the Hearthstones come with the ability to either vent out the top or to vent out the back. And so we're going to be venting out the back to attach it to a liner that's going to be going up and through the chimney. All right, so we're on the front porch. It's a little bit cramped, but here is their Hearthstone Heritage. Now this Hearthstone Heritage, you can see here, this is the flue collar, comes out the top of the stove. And so this is where most of the time you're going to be venting. You're going to have a top exit here. And on this particular model, on the Hearthstone Heritage, we have the option to do a rear exhaust, a rear outlet. So what the crew is going to do is they're going to end up taking off this collar here and taking off this block off plate and basically just swapping them. And so this nice block off plate will go ahead and sit up on the top, and then this collar will come down here. And when we bring that liner down the chimney, we'll be able to bring it right through the firebox and directly into this rear outlet. Another thing to note about these Hearthstones is you can see there's this blue stone here. This is all soapstone, and it's absolutely beautiful. It makes the stoves very, very heavy. One of the big benefits of the soapstone is that the soapstone absorbs almost all the heat from the wood stove and then releases it slowly. Even after your fire dies, hours and hours and hours later, this will still put off heat and will continue to heat your space even after your fire is out. And Hearthstone calls it their heat time. Most stoves, they have a burn time for how long they can hold a fire. And Hearthstone actually goes with a heat time because even after the fire goes out, you continue to get heat. Another cool thing about the Hearthstone Heritage, if you want to come around this side, is that they have the option of having the side loading door. And so you can load the stove either from the front or from the side here, which is really cool. The crew's getting ready to modify the throat and the damper in this fireplace so that we can fit a liner through it. So above the firebox, we have an open area that slowly comes kind of to a point, and we call that the throat. And at the throat is where you have your damper that opens and closes. Now, most traditional fireplaces like that throat is going to be somewhere between 3 and 4.5 inches wide. But today's liners are 6 inches. And so what we need to do is remove the damper. And most of the time, we end up having to cut the pins that hold the damper in with a Sawzall or with an angle grinder and a metal cutoff blade. After that is removed, along the back here, you can see there are bricks that come up and follow all the way to the throat. And so we're going to be using a hammer and a chisel and to break out usually 2 to 4 bricks right in the middle. And with the damper removed and those bricks removed, we have a nice big hole, 8 to 10 inches around, that we can easily bring the liner down.
So we ended up removing that brick and that one right there, and then we chopped half out of that top, probably half out of that top, and if we can't get anything exposed, then we're going to pop that one and the top ones.
Fireplace lintel, you're talking about the big one that goes across here.
Yeah.
Right, this one here. That is a lintel, but technically the one in the back is also a lintel.
Oh, it's about to get real dusty. You might want to back up.
Oh, goodness.
No, we're going to have to cut it. That strip is in there.
Yeah. So in the fireplace lintel across here, obviously is totally structural, right? That little lintel in the back is not so much structural as it is to create like a nice, straight area, right? So that the damper system can sit on, But the lintel in the front, of course, is structural, and that's why we don't cut those out. Yeah.
It's too weird of an angle to try and get the.
That's what I would say too if I couldn't get it out.
Angle there?
No, I think I got it at a wide enough angle away from that door that I can cut it.
Wow, you look like you had fun.
100 years worth of bird nests and everything in here.
Sure.
And now it's all down my shirt.
Yeah. See? We thought he was here for brute strength, but look at all the other.
I'm here for brute strength and fitting in places that the fully grown men can't.
Oh wow! Now that's a good picture.
Yeah.
Only half his face.
Yep.
The old house, yeah. This is kind of par for the course.
This sounds like they're not all this bad, are they?
No, but usually the older the house, the worse it is. So, yeah. And say get it going, and then make contact and just cut.
That's what I'm thinking. There's like 2 inches above it, and that's the only angle you can hit it from. So.
Well, you might want the.
Where'd the flashlight go?
I can see it pretty well.
But a whole bunch of twigs up in here. Once we get this strip off, we should just be able to slice the door right in half, pull it out. I don't know what they have going on with this whole section of back mortar, but they threw in anything they could rock-wise. So what I was thinking is, I'm just going to go straight up, cut this door in half, and then pull it out.
Yep. Yeah. So technically,
And there's brick behind it too.
oh, yeah. So technically, you can't get into the pins right there. So they were quote unquote made to actually be able to remove the dampers if you slide it one way. It's like you have enough room to pull, to slide a pin out and then slide it out the other way. I have never seen one that actually worked.
Nope.
Some of them will still slide back and forth, but there's not enough room anymore.
Yeah.
I've never actually seen one that. Yeah, because it's funny because if you go to and look up any official chimney sweep training and stuff for traditional fireplaces, they'll tell you remove the damper so you can get to the smoke shelf easy. And they're like, all you have to do, of course they show a mock-up one that they just built. They're like, see, just slides out and then here comes the damper door. You're like, I have never seen one that will come out.
But it doesn't want to go. Come on.
You got it. Nice. All right.
We're gonna have to take those other bricks out too.
Which won't be too bad.
No.
These ones right here.
Yep.
Okay.
Pop these ones out on top, and then we should have enough space in between those.
Okay. And then that 6-inch will just come straight down
Oh,
here
yeah.
and curve around.
We definitely have some nests.
Yeah.
Honestly,
This one looks pretty clean.
it does. Surprisingly, for being as old as it is. All the way up. I can still see actual brick and mortar, so yeah, that's good to go.
That's a huge opening. We'll have no problem
That's
getting
what
it
I'm
down.
saying. Yeah, usually, like with the iron boxes that we've had to deal with recently, there's 3 pipes that come out, like right there.
I ain't never seen that before. I wonder if they set those up, because obviously, because it's sloping that way. I wonder if whoever the mason was building this thing, 100 years ago, had kind of put those up there just to kind of keep everything up, you know what I mean, while he did it.
Just
Now,
like
and they're pretty well centered, so if the liner will slide between them, I'd say leave them. But I've never seen that before.
Yeah,
inside now, and we're starting to unpack our liner here. Now, these chimney liners are, you can get them in 6-inch, you can get them 8-inch, you can get them in 10-inch, but the vast majority of the time you're dealing with 6-inch. Most of today's appliances, whether they're wood stoves or fireplace inserts, they all have 6-inch outlets. You can still get 8 inches and 10 inches, you get them ovalized or round. Today we're going to be using a round 6-inch liner. Now these liners are stainless steel, most of them are 304 stainless. And they last a very, very long time. They will outlast most of the owners of their homes. Now this liner, as you can see, it's corrugated, and because of that, it is flexible. And so that allows us to come down chimneys and make bends if we need to. And this one, once we get towards the bottom, and we're going to be coming out the firebox, so we'll be able to make a nice bend in it. And so these are very, very versatile, easy to maintain, easy to clean. They're great. Now this particular brand, this is a Z-Flex, a very common brand, and very, very high quality. Now on the top of the stove, or on the top of the chimney, we're gonna have a top plate. Now this top plate, you can see this is about 18 by 18, and you see it has a collar here with a band clamp attached to it. And you can see the band clamp comes around the inside. So after the liner goes down the chimney, we're gonna have some excess sticking up and out. And what we'll do is we will slide this over the excess and down on top of the chimney. This will be attached to the top of the chimney to make sure that we have no water or animals or anything like that going down, and that we only have one access for venting, and that's through the liner coming up through this collar. Now to attach this to the chimney, you can use construction adhesive. If the chimney is in good shape, you can use masonry screws, but you have to be careful if you don't pre-drill it. And sometimes even if you do pre-drill it, you can crack the bricks. So construction adhesive a lot of times is a really, really good option. Another thing we usually do is if there is any overhang from this around the outside of the chimney, we go ahead and mark it, and we'll cut the corners and fold everything in nice and neat to really hug it onto the chimney there. Now, on top of the top plate, we have this really nice cap here, and this cap again has its own band clamp, and it will slide right on top of this top plate and clamp down. And again, this is also stainless steel, 304 stainless, so you never have to worry about rusting or corrosion or anything like that. One of the things I do like about this cap, so it does have this guard around the outside that helps prevent birds and things like that, but it doesn't have the wire mesh you would see on a spark arrestor. When you see really tight spark arrestors on these caps, what will happen, and sometimes multiple times a year depending on the wood you're burning, the spark arrestors just clog up with soot and with creosote. But by having something like this, you're still preventing animals from getting in, but with plenty of large enough open spaces so we don't have any clogging. And with modern wood stoves and fireplace inserts and things like that, we're not really worried about having spark arrestors because of the internal baffles, secondary air tubes, catalytic combustors, things like that that are in the stove that prevent sparks from actually getting all the way up and out. So not really totally necessary nowadays. This last piece here, this is called the appliance adapter. And this appliance adapter is meant to go on the bottom of the liner just like this, and again, has a band clamp to tighten it on there. This, if we were doing a fireplace insert, this would come straight down the chimney and right on top of the insert to its outlet. But this one is going to be going into the rear of the stove that we looked at earlier. And then you can bend these tabs in and it holds it in place. And then this will be coming out of the stove and then up the chimney. One thing that we're going to do here is when we're all said and done, the portion of this liner that you can see coming from the back of the stove into the fireplace, we'll go ahead and paint black with a nice high temp paint that is meant for wood stoves and stovepipe and things like that. And that way it won't be noticeable. You won't even see it. All right, so as you can see, the liner came straight down the chimney, and we got her out here. Couple little notes here. We do have pulling devices that are there. It's called a pulling cone, and a pulling cone would go on the edge of this, and you can attach rope to it so you can pull the liner down if you need to, and having the cone shape make sure that it doesn't really snag up on anything. But the inside of this chimney was really large, and it was a straight shot, and so the pulling cone just wasn't necessary. However, every liner, no matter what brand, is going to be shipped with tape around the edges. And we always leave that on, one, because when you're grabbing it, you're not worried about cutting your hands on any sharp edges from the cut in the factory. And then two, as it's coming down, those little edges and things like that are not going to snag on any bricks and things like that. And so we always leave the tape on whenever we're dropping the liner. Yeah, just to protect your hands, and it helps it go down a little easier. So before we move the stove in and start doing any type of hookup there, it's time to do a cleanup. It's always a good idea to keep your work area clean when you're done with a particular portion of the job. So we've got the damper removed, the smoke shelf opened up, we got the liner down, and so we're going to come in here with trash bags and vacuum and everything and get this all cleaned up before we bring the stove in.